We're joined by Max Jenkins, heavyweight boxer. What are you, 3-1, Max, now?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, should be 4-1, but
Why are you not 4-1?
because for some reason that fight I had with Julian abroad, the commission was investigated,
Yeah.
and so they did cap. It's on the like other websites as 4-1, but everyone goes off box rec. Bit corrupts, but you know how it
Yeah,
is. You look rough.
we had a heavy session.
Can't help yourself, can you?
Well, I've got issues on that. Max, now that you've had time to digest it all, you've probably seen the press conference as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
They've asked it that, well, they're saying that September Turkey's got the stadium booked, but I'm hearing that's for AJ and Tyson Fury. So they probably put that as a chief support. But Eddie's saying, yeah, we'd do it at 158 next time, but there'd be no rehydration clause and that. Eddie's not in driving seat with this, is he? Where does he get? They've just been beat. They've got to go cap in hand now to Eubank. So I don't know where Eddie's coming from with that. He thinks he's still in charge. He ain't got a world champion male UK fighter at the moment. There's only two in country, as you know. Daniel Dubois got his by email, and Nick Ball. So Eddie's not got a male world champion in the country. Crusher's not a world champion. Joshua, and he's on the back foot. Eddie, they'll do it next time at 164. If Eubank's going to fight a Canelo at 168, he'll come back to 16. He'll come down to 164. They're going to have to go cap in hand, and Conor Ben will probably get flogged, won't he? But Eubank looks shot. Do you think?
Um. Yeah. I had concerns about the fight a little bit, if I was honest, Russ, because if you look at it, it was just he's not as quick with a jab. The thing what Chris Eubank had last night, he had a lot of time into him, and I think he learned in the third, fourth round coming in. Conor Ben was had his chin in the air coming in, and he pipped at him and timed him quite well. So I'll give Eubank. Eubank did box quite well last night. He had to drag himself, but this weight clause it needs to stop. This like balling down because he's no spring chicken. And I don't know if you saw the how he felt or looked. Sorry, the day before he was absolutely shot. He looked battered. So you can't keep doing that. So they need to adhere to what you say to what Eubanks are doing. They need to adhere to them. And I hope now Dad's involved now, back involved. I hope they listen to him.
Yeah. I've just had Scott Brunt on the phone. He had 5 grand on Crusher Ben, and he thinks Crusher won. What do you think to that?
Nah, look, the people are going to cry. Eddie Hearn's going to cry. Eddie Hearn keeps playing his narrative. Oh, he's jumped up to middleweight. Bloody hell! His last two fights was at middleweight, Conor Ben. So stop crying, Eddie. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
annoying.
yeah, Scott loves a bet. He loves his boxing, and he's fantastic with me. But Scott, I thought Eubank won. I think by a couple of rounds, and but you know what it is like. Scott put big money on Anna Rankin, didn't he? When Dennis had her.
Mm.
Dennis's stag do were in Thailand, one he, and Nigel Ben were out there, one he in Thailand, and you can get rose tinted glasses on, can't you? I suppose.
Get sucked
But
in,
he
can't
puts
you?
his money where his mouth is, Scott. But Scott, you've never won a boxing bet in your life. He bets with his heart, Scott, and not his head. So
Yeah.
even though we love him to death, but it is what it is. But big shout out to Spartan Demolition. They've always backed Porky's Corner. And big shout out to Chris, uh, my pal Scott. Well, Scott's pal who I met through Scott out there with Scott at Rotherham last night watching boxing, lads' night. But I think Eubank won. But for Ben fought his heart out. We've got it as his ability, as much as his ability to allow him, Max. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I
He did his
mean,
best,
look,
didn't he? He did his best, but it fell short. And I think he's still a bit raw, isn't he, really? Do you think?
look. I mean, his dad was playing this narrative in the press conference. Oh, he's been sparring Denzel Bentley. He's been sparring, Scar. And look, and he's been bullying him. Well, look, I tell you now, I've spoken to Denzel Bentley before the UK v USA thing for Big Ron, and Denzel Bentley between me and well, I'll say it on here because he won't care. He weren't bullying him. It was a giving good sparks, but it weren't bullying him. So we'll leave that one there, Nigel. He's obviously going to bluster his son. Um, but yeah, he's fought his heart out, admittedly. But let's have it right. He's still a drugs cheat, and the right person won. That's it. They're trying to like, all everyone's saying, "Oh, great fighter." Let's have it right. He's still drugs cheat. He still served a silent ban. Let's not forget it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm having a barbecue today, Max. So I'm going to watch Liverpool. Not go down brilliant, that I must admit. But
A
the win
few
league today,
jars.
us, mate. Pop, pop, bang. All you Arsenal fans like Bricktop and Terry Chappendama. Unlucky. You tried, but it wasn't good enough. Uh, before we set about, in fact, let's just set about it, shall we? Let's Turkey, Turkey. This Turkey guy, right? They're they've got this Ring magazine thing. They wheel Doug Fisher out, and everybody's all things Turkey. But that's not a world title fight. And them two lads last night, Eubank and Ben, they wouldn't have been able to do anything with Aaron McKenna, would they? He's the guy that
Aaron-
beat Beefy Smith, Max. If you
yeah,
actually
yeah.
watch
No,
the fucking show.
he annoyed me, Aaron Kenner, because
Why? Why did he did the business against Beefy Smith, who was
yeah,
supposed
no,
to
no,
be
no,
this
no. He
tough
boxed
warrior?
awesomely. He boxed awesomely. He boxed brilliant. And Liam Smith annoyed me because I put him on my accumulator, and I thought Liam might just have that because I was thinking, oh well, the brother won. Liam wants to win. Yeah, I mean, thought how his wins against the sales. But Aaron McKenna, fantastic footwork, coming in and out, popping at him. It was just awesome to watch. He'll go places him.
Beefy Smith reminds me of Josh Warrington, and people might start believing in the pork now. Because you know I study the statistics. I can tell you any fighter how many punches they normally throw, how many breaks in between, how many feints, when they hug, when they have rounds off. I know it all. Ask Carl Froch if you don't believe me. But when a fighter's in decline, they're the last one to realise it because everybody around them is telling them they're fucking not in decline. You see where I'm coming from?
And
Can I
Liam
just
Smith.
give a big shout out to Scott Westgarth, a kid who passed away a few years ago, Glyn Rhodes fighter. Now, Glyn Rhodes has to live that every day. Nobody seems to be mentioning Scott Westgarth, do they,
No.
anymore? Why is that? Because when he died, everybody wanted to mention him and get the sons out there on social media. Why is nobody putting any respect on this kid's name? Why is that? Because you're all shithousers. That's why. You know what I mean? All gonna do this and gonna do that. What about Scott Westgarth? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, no. Shout out to Scott Westgarth and
Yeah.
rest in peace. Yeah, definitely.
Uh, Frotch saying this fight is wrong and dangerous on all levels. The Ben Eubank fight. He said that yesterday morning in his video. Uh, why didn't he say that in the Crusher Ben interview?
Do you know what? I've commented a couple of times on the Cobra's channel. I've said you've lost credibility, Cobra. Since that Crusher Ben interview turned off from him.
Can't have him in my phone, mate. I can't have people in my circle texting me constantly and blah blah. I can't have it, mate. Can't have that.
He, he's lost all credibility. Look,
Done my head in that, mate. He's done my head in, Frotch. People. I've gone through a lot of my phone, and I've took about 28, 29 people out of my phone, as you know. And
mm,
well, people say one thing to me, then they go out and do interviews and say another. And
mm.
I'm thinking, well, how fake is that? How fake are people in boxing, Max? You're a professional boxer yourself. You've been around the sport now, and it's
I,
embarrassing, isn't it, Max?
I can see. I do. Look, I've seen it for the first time. I can see why you lose your head. I can see why
You know, I used to lose my head every week at Big Ron's when I was there.
you did. Well, yeah, you did a little bit because you just couldn't be asked with all the bullshit.
We didn't know,
Even then,
Dennis, shot. I'm not being funny, like. I put Dennis through the ringer, didn't I, for over 6 years,
yeah,
didn't I, really? And
yeah,
fucking fried his head, didn't I?
yeah. I mean,
Absolutely
look,
fried his head. But he used to say to me, I agree with you, but you can't say that. And I used to say it's so wrong on many levels, Dennis. And all he used to say was, "Calm down, we're not making a fucking western." You
Do,
know,
do,
but that's what he used to say to me.
yeah.
But
The one thing that Big Ron does say about you, though, Russ, he says you got good art, right?
I
And
should be,
you,
shouldn't I?
and Terry,
Picking up tabs in Royal Yacht Club in Jersey. I've got a fantastic art, and I.
yeah, yeah, but but honestly, Big Ron says you got good art, and Terry Chaparama, he picked up on this. Like, you got like your problem men, like so you got people like Andy Ayling for Bricktop, people like
Oh.
that. Yeah,
Well, look what he did. He stole that money, didn't he?
what money?
There was some money flying about from Turkey to a certain Queensbury fighter, and this fighter got paid, but he had a lot off for himself. They've dropped him, haven't they, like a stone, haven't they, Queensbury, Andy Ayling, apparently.
Well, I mean, look, he's a problem. The problem is you need people like that within
The
for them
Beast
because
of Brentford, they call him, don't they? Brentwood.
yeah, I mean, but the thing is that Terry said this. You did a service for Big Ron, really, because people who would lift his leg, you fucking call them out on it. You
I
know what I
thought
mean?
I terrorised them. I terrorised people who came into that office and were trying to pull strokes when Dennis were away,
Hmm.
or people who were getting in touch with me to get to Dennis. I absolutely terrorised them. I said, "Well, what do you want to speak to him for? About what? Tell me. You got to tell me." And they'd be like, "Ooba dooba doo," because I knew they were trying to pull one.
Yeah.
I've seen everything. And do you know what? The funny thing is, Max, and you know this, Sonny Edwards can say what he wants that me and Big Ron fell out of a ticket money. Did I ever handle any ticket money there? Who handles the ticket money there? Tell everybody.
Michelle,
There you
Michelle.
go. Have I ever handled money there?
No, never.
When I have seen money there. It went ticket money. But let me tell you this: when I was asked to do that, I went, "No, I'm not getting involved with this," because I'd only been there a month, and I was like, "Wow, every argument's over money. Everything were over money all the time, ticket money and this and that." So I never got involved with it. Never. I was only interested in boxing, and do you know what? Dennis
And
was going to
making
rag it
fights.
until I started there. He was going to rag it in, but I injected a bit of life into him. But Terry Chappendama and Rico put something together for Dennis, who we should sign. It was like a portfolio thing. It was a really good presentation, and he never took that advice. And there were people on that list who we should have signed. Chris Conger. I got him to sit down with David Adelaide, and Dennis just didn't have that what he had 20 years ago, do you know? And I could see it, and it reminds me of Beefy Smith and Josh Warrington. You know, a fighter that's gone to the well too many times and they're still trying to do it. And Dennis is like that. And I think he'd be better off stepping out of boxing and waiting for the landscape to change. But Dennis's problem is his ego's too big, Max. His ego's
Well,
too big, but he is a winner. But at this moment in time, he's on the back foot. There's no Clinton Woods. There's no David A. There's no Ricky Hatton. You know, the good times have gone for him in boxing. Will he ever get back to that? I hope he does. But if he'd have listened 10 years ago, he'd have had two lots of two. He'd have had like two teams, like Fergie built two teams in it. He'd have had two lots of people that he'd
yeah.
have booked. But he didn't. You can't pay Robert Cracks with Fuki and Tommy Frank and Liam Cameron as well. Let's be right. And Liam Cameron, because when your fighters can't get out of bed and doing a run in the morning, you're wasting time. Dave Allen's another one. You know,
But don't you think he's been shafted in a lot of ways because
yeah, but Dennis has shafted people as well himself, hasn't he, in boxing? Let's have it right. Dennis is a big stroke puller. Dennis, you know you are,
but
but he's been
but
shafted more than he's shafted people. Fighters, listen, fighters are selfish, aren't they? They tell lies on a daily basis. You do, Max. You're like, yeah, I've been training, I've been training. What? Coming back from pizza or?
come on.
Hang on a minute,
Yeah.
I've got a text off Chris Smedley.
Oh, here we
And
go.
he says, ask Max, hang on a minute, ask
Yeah.
Max about when he stayed at my house when I was training him after his first session. You goes, can I stay at yours, Chris, tonight? Chris went, yeah, and you ordered a pizza, Max. Did you order a pizza?
No, it wasn't a pizza. No, it was a Chinese.
Max, what you ordering a Chinese for after your first training session?
Yeah, but he's the one who put it on me.
What did he want a Chinese?
Yeah.
He says it was a big 32-inch pizza, a crusty one with
Piss
extra
off.
cheese.
No, it was Chinese. And
Oh,
he was singing
Max.
to his dogs. And he was singing to his dogs.
Oh
I
my
like
God!
Chris.
Apparently, this Tony Bellew's tweet here. Look at this here. The stage is set. Greatness awaits. Elite fighters. Don't miss the huge, and I mean huge, Eubank-Ben fight live on the zone tonight. Darren Barker with it. Oh no. Elite fighters, greatness and all that. Look, them they fought their hearts out, both of them, but one's shot and one's never been. It were English level, and that's been generous to them both. Swinging and missing. The timing was. What about this great trainer, uh, Tony Sims? The timing of Crusher Ben went out. He was throwing wildness. And I
He's,
think he burnt himself out, but a pure adrenaline got him through it, didn't it?
do you know what it was? I just think he look. Conor Ben was emotionally involved too much, and I think. Do you know what? You're going to say this. I know what you're going to say. Do you think Chris Eubank Senior him turning up was scripted? Yes or no?
Yeah, listen, do you know what? I think maybe the whole lot was scripted. You know, I mean, they're hugging and kissing after dads and everybody's giving everybody respect. But and I mean if that fine is genuine, well, just give money back then and do it again. But Eddie's come out and he's said, and I quote, yeah, we'll do it again at 158, which I mentioned to you. Eddie's not in charge no more. Eddie's not got no world champions in UK. He's on back foot there.
Mm.
Yeah, Turkey might have booked Tottenham ground for September, but it's Tyson Fury and AJ that's booked for. They'll be chief support if they fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, that right. I mean, let's look at the senior thing. I generally think Chris Eubank for. I think he pulled the stroke there. I don't think all the matchroom lot didn't know that because I think they were shocked. I think after weigh-in, I think Harlem Eubank spoke to Chris Senior about it and said, "Look, you're gonna have to support your son here." He got over his ego and came in because Chris Senior. Let's have it right. He likes
Yeah, go
his
on. 2 seconds. Yeah, go on. Keep going.
he likes his I don't know. He likes the glam, don't he, Senior? He likes the limelight a little bit, you know. So he thought, you know what? I'm gonna have to get over my ego here. I have to get over my ego. I'm going to support my son, and you know, got over his ego, came in, and I think only Chris Eubank and I don't think even Ben Shalom didn't think he knew either. I generally think that because Eubank is as eccentric and a little bit weird he has got integrity a little bit. Senior,
Well, he should do with all the elocution lessons he had in private school, shouldn't he?
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
Well,
mean?
Senior does as well. So obviously, you know, it stuck him a bit with the Michael Watson. It made him. So he thought the bigger picture. Look, I'm gonna have to support my son here. And you know what? It sort of was the fairy tale ending in a way because boxing sort of won in its weird way last night because the drugs cheat lost, and that's how I look at it. You know, if the drugs cheat won, you know, and I'm glad
Go on. Go on.
because they're glad in a way. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
yeah, I'm
Well, look,
glad.
if Kosher Bennett had got the decision, it would have been bad for boxing because it would have
Yeah,
meant the establishment of one, wouldn't it? He's failed 2 dope tests. He's carried off like an absolute weapon, hasn't he, really, basically. Nobody believes a word any of that lot say now because once you tell a lie, you got to tell another or shut it down. But once you lie like they've been doing for a long time, like Eddie and his dad and all them around him, anything else that you say, it's no good, is it?
mm,
Nobody believes it. It's just like me, right? I don't believe anything from them lot now. That's why I
no,
go after them. But who's going to stop me doing these? No one.
no,
There's
I know.
nobody will stop me. And until they change their ways, I'm just going to thrash them. Because, like I always say, Max, to you, once that ice breaks, I'll be waiting. And
I
there you
know
go.
you. I know you. Yeah, yeah. But but yeah, no. I mean, what are you laughing at? You?
I'm just laughing at the dog. The dog.
No, you're not.
It
No,
is what it
exactly what you're
is.
laughing at.
You are.
I know exactly what you're laughing at.
No, I'm not like that. Billy Joe sausages.
Yeah.
English told the security not to let him in, didn't he, to check the hand wraps. So I was pleased about that.
Do you know what?
Well,
I thought I was good. To be honest with you, mate, I thought, if I was honest, he was just kicking off. Why does it have to be all about him? Look, he's never going to get in the ring. He's a dick. Billy Joe Saunders, you're a
somebody
dick.
said he's £220 on social media. What's that? 16 stone 10? Do you think
Yeah,
he's that
nearly
big?
17 stone. Yeah.
Is he 16 stone 10, do you think?
Yeah, I think he is, yeah. Mad that. He ain't going to get in.
Well,
That'd
if
be
he's
hard.
been out at ring 4 year next week, so if he were to fight, it'd be 6 months, but it'd be 6 months getting 4 5 stone off, wouldn't he?
A lot for his age as well.
You know what I mean? It's and his skills are going to be different. And when you get a body shot and you've been out that long, your body doesn't absorb it. You become human, don't you? A bit like Ricky Hatton when he stayed out, came back against Senchenko, got a little tapped at body and folded like a deck chair. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But
Yeah, I'm so glad. I mean, do you know what? It annoyed me a little bit over this fight week because I thought Conor Benn's team, everyone was a little bit professional around him, that he had all the cards and everything. Chris Eubanks Junior's team were like that napper. He didn't seem to know what he was doing.
yeah,
The day before the rehydration weigh-in, oh well, they told us between the hours 11 to 1. No, they don't. No, they don't. They'll tell you a set time to turn up because they don't mess about with weights, the board. They don't mess about. So he didn't know what he's talking about. But he got a little bit of respect back from me when he told Billy Joe Saunders to F off. You know what I
no
mean?
English.
No, that Napa, Chris Eubanks Junior's manager when he was standing in front
Yeah,
of him.
what about Spotty Frank Smith at that gloves rules meeting and that saying, "Come outside then, let's get at it." Spotty,
Ugh.
you're not about that life. You're
Yeah,
not You're not qualified to talk about intense beef, Spotty. You would have got flogged, Spotty. Did you see him, Spotty Frank,
he's an idiot.
Mister
He's an idiot.
Roadman Killer, Frank Bone Crusher Smith.
0-1, isn't he? Against Eddie.
He's only had one fight against Eddie and got beaten. I think he had a white collar, didn't he? But it
Yeah.
is what it is. People are saying the talk sport lot had it a draw. Steve Collins, Jug Ears, the
Oh,
Gad, and Adam Cockerell. Adam Cockerell. Yeah, you
no,
cock.
no, it wasn't a draw. Chris Eubank had that by 2, 3 rounds. I thought. I just thought his timing as well, and when he came in the inside, I mean, look, let's be honest. We saw bits of Eubank where he traded, which he don't normally do, and he stood there and traded. And you know what? I thought. I tell you what, if Conor Ben was on the gear, he'll be iced out.
Yeah.
So it shows he has no pop in his punches, Connor Hen or Connor Tren. And and I think Eubank was quite I think, oh, I can stand and trade here. We got confidence as the fight went through.
You know what I'm going to do after this week? I'm going to stop terrorising Crusher Ben. Do you know why? Because he did
Right.
fight his heart out and he
It's
did his.
still drugs cheat. You can't get away
I
from that
know, I
narrative.
understand that. I understand that. But I don't know, man.
You're
Just,
softening up. You're softening up.
I'm a.
You're softening up.
Well, he did put a
Come
shift in,
on.
didn't it? Marks, he put a shift in, didn't he? Let's have it right. I didn't think he had that in him, you know.
When
But
you put shift in for 6 million,
yeah, well, they're talking, oh, we're 14 month out at ring. Yeah, but Eubank were 19 month out and he were weight drained. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It is what it is. It were left to judges on the night. Would a draw have been a fair result? Well, maybe
no,
they give him an opportunity to do it again, but a draw would have left a bad taste in my mouth. The right man won.
yeah.
Uh,
And the judges, let's have it right. I think they'll have, even if it was close, they would have given it to Eubank, I thought, because
the
of the,
drug situation.
yeah,
They
because the
had
judges
to. They
don't know.
couldn't give it to him for the sake of boxing, could they?
Exactly.
They rubbed everybody up the wrong way, and there you go. Eddie said he's going to smash you to bits inside 3 rounds and all that. And
Didn't
I'm going
happen.
to iron him out. Only ironing they did were Nigel Ben's jeans, and they didn't do a good job of that. Bombay Dave's been let go by Sky. They've replaced him with Go to Adam Boom. He's the best, the Dark Lord, and his new white trainers.
Not Andy Lee.
Oh, Andy Lee will be worming his way in somewhere along the line. He's one of them hanging about like a bad smell jobs, isn't he, for crumbs and crusts. Eggs Benedict lost then. We spoke about Billy Joe. What about, ladies and gentlemen, the Smiths? What happened there? What happened there to the Smiths? Paul Smith, aka Smiggers Double D Titties. Uh,
Jim
Joe said, Dad, Swifty, go to Swifty, the new generation of trainers, the new Dark Lord. What happened to the corner work on the night? And Big Joe McAnally, what happened to them? They were silent, weren't they?
He's
Well,
just
Josh
shot, isn't he,
Payne leave
Liam
Joe
Smith?
McAnally now.
He's just shot, isn't he, Liam Smith? He's done now. He's done. Callum Smith has got a little bit in the tank, his brother, but Liam Smith's done now after that.
Yeah. What about Bricktop? Couldn't get a seat. Didn't have a seat for him. We had to go put it on Turkey for him and his crew to have a seat. What were all that about? Is there a bit of intense beef there? I mean, there is.
I think this Riyadh thing is coming to. They're going to do the Tyson Fury and Joshua. It's going to start coming to an end now.
Yeah.
He's going to do this thing with Dana White. If you notice, they're not. They're normally rolling out. Oh, we're going to do another one out in Riyadh. This time last year, they were announcing Riyadh, Riyadh. Turkey's just pulling away now, and now Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, they're going to either be, they say, look, we're going to have to pal up here against Turkey and keep it civil because they're on the same platform. So, it's interesting to see. Turkey's he's got his way in with fighters now. He's talking to them direct, isn't he? And money is the root of all powers and evils here now.
Yeah. Trish Dixon, Donald McRae, we've done an article. They spoke about Turkey and they've had the press passes stopped. They've shown Turkey in is it sort of the two sides of Turkey or something? They spoke out. There's
Yeah.
no press credentials for them. The guy in Saudi spoke out on Twitter about him. He got 19 years in a Saudi prison, didn't he? So does Turkey rule by fear?
Well, by the sounds of it, yeah, he's a dictator.
Well, why are
Um,
they all hanging out at the back of him then? Did you see Spencer Brownlee fawning over him? How embarrassing was that?
Saying that, Spencer Brown, he's one of the top guys in the driving seat, isn't he, with fighters? Look at what he's doing with likes of Gerard Miller. I wonder what he's getting with that.
Jarrell
He's
Miller. Jarrell Miller, what a drug cheat. 24 stone drug cheat. And
another one.
Amzad Shiraz, who's a bag of wind. Amzad Shiraz, why don't you fight Aaron McKenna?
That's what I'm saying. But he won't.
Uh, Eddie
So,
says Crusher Ben's the people's champion. Well, they booed him, so I was the people's champion. They booed him in the ring and booed him out the ring, so I was the people's champion. I don't get that one, do you?
no, Crusher Ben, he's the bad man. We don't like him. Look, let's have it right. He cheated, and what? Two failed dope tests, tying up the board control and lawyers and everything, so they can't say anything. They can only say the narrative clear to box. That's it. So no wonder the judges have got it. Would have it in for him, even if it's close again. They'll have it in for him again, and rightly so.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I feel for Trish Dixon and Donald McRae, but Trish Dixon's the only journalist in the UK that asked Barry Hearn about him being in Jeffrey Epstein's book. So, Trish Dixon, you always get my respect. Not that we're saying Barry Hearn's done anything, because obviously Epstein were a billionaire, Barry Hearn's company's worth $1 billion. So, them sort of people mix in them circles, but he's the only one to put it on him. Why couldn't you Kugan Cassius or
Carl
Puppy
Froch.
Parsons and IFL Umar and Carl Froch mention anything like that? They might do to the friends or the birds at night in bed, but why would they not put it on him if they're about what's the word? If they're about integrity, these channels and these media people, and about saying the right thing, and we tell it straight. What's Froch's saying? We tell it straight on here, no bullshit. Well, nobody's pulling them up on that, are they? Something serious like that. But Frotch were going to put it on Turkey about the national anthem, but he didn't, did he? With like a chocolate fire guard.
Carl Froch, he's like he should wrap it in the media
What about
stuff.
him in Frotch interviewing Amir Khan, palling up George Groves because they're doing evenings with, interviewing Amir Khan? How can you not? I can't stand that person. And then oh, there's a few quid in it for a few shows with Groves. Oh, a few views with Amir. This and that. It's two-facedness that I can't stand. I can't stand stuff like that. That's why I used to let rip at big Rons. I used to mainly let rip at big Rons when people had come in, office, sit there, and then they'd leave, boxing people from around the country, some from abroad even. I say,
Hmm.
what's going on here? Why is he in here? Thought you didn't like him. Ah, I'm gonna play a game. No, no, no. If you don't like somebody, you don't have him in your fucking company, do you? And
So
never mind all that. Sometimes you've got to work with people you don't like. No, I don't get that. Maybe it's the coal miner's son in me. I don't get that. Gary used to say that to me all the time for welcome mistakes,
yeah,
and I
yeah, but
go,
the thing
no,
is,
no, that ain't for me. That.
the thing is with Russ, it's like at my job where I work now. I don't like we're like majority of the people there.
Well,
You
fill him in then, Marks. Do him in.
can't do that in a like in a workplace. You can't do it. You just got to be remain civil
Pack
and be
in then. Ex
But
Benedict. Does he beat Kell Brook?
I don't know actually. Probably more than likely.
Joe Gallagher's put a tweet out just now, and it says, and I quote, just get me a screenshot up that somebody sent me. Like to see Chris Eubank Jr. move back up to 168 and have his big payday versus Canelo next at Wembley or Spurs in September. Canelo has always wanted fighting UK. Connor move back down in weight and fight for the world title or Kell Brook at 147. Flex will be loving that, won't he? Flex. Be able to keep his electric car going a few more months, won't he? Sat on that Coppers channel. Boxing King Media, you know what I'm on about. You serving copper from Rotherham. You know. You fucking know. Horsecock as well's in the mix anyway, his electric car. Doing interviews with coppers. You couldn't make it up, could you?
No.
You could not make it up, Maximus. And
Well,
I spoke about Virgil Hunter. You know, he never had a world title win with Amir Khan. Angulo Boazzi and now that Chevron Clark ruined them all. What next for him? He reminds me of that guy out about Simpsons. You know what I'm on about? Virgil Hunter looks like him, doesn't he? I forgot his name.
is
Who
it?
is it?
Oh, I can't
You
remember.
watch
Yeah,
that all the time, don't you, Max? Simpsons.
used to. The problem is the Virgil Hunter. I think it's the crossroads of you think, oh yeah, because he trained one person great. You think he can do the same. He can't adapt. Virgil Hunter clearly,
Yeah,
he's not. He's just a one trick pony. So Chevron Clark, he should be beating Vidal Riley, and under the right guidance, Clark would beat Riley.
yeah.
But, he just didn't throw enough, wasn't busy enough.
He's a bit tasty, that Vito O'Reilly. He's got it all, hasn't he? I think he's got it all, mate. You know, his style and that. He's hard to nail. He's busy. He's
He's
throwing.
in now, yeah,
He's very, very good. Russ, who is it? Were part of his team. You know, I forgot his second name, but he's been to my office. You know, the West Ham kid. Uh,
yeah.
he were in his camp, and he's a nice guy. And I like Vito because when he sparred Dylan White, Dylan didn't pay him his 600 for sparring at Loughborough, and he never kicked off about it at Oak Vito. So well done. But when Eddie Hills has it a draw, you know his fighter got beat. It's like Bricktop when he had Shiraz Adam as a draw. Uh,
It was no way to
and
draw
they
that.
gave it a draw. You know that their guy got beat, don't you? But it is what it is, isn't it? We know what's going on, don't we? But disappointing to see the press conference where Eddie kept going on and on and on about Crusher being a 147 guy for the last fucking time. Crusher fought at 147 over 3 years ago. It's 3 years and a couple of weeks. He's not a welterweight. He'll never do welterweight again. If he does, he's a dead man walking. He's on Green Mile, isn't he, with John Coffey eating cornbread. Do you know what I mean? So, but swinging like a madman, swinging like a bitch, windmilling like a bitch, should I say? And his timing was shocking, wasn't it? Crusher's timing. Do you think?
Yeah, that's why.
Both of them's really well, wasn't it? Really.
And,
But,
I think Chris Eubank had the edge in that because he started 4 or 5 rounds, started getting a big rhythm, and he was coming in and the uppercuts and jab uppercut. He was doing it really well, Chris Eubank, and starting to trade with him. And he realised after that power wasn't there, Chris Eubank started to get confidence. He was even talking to him in there. So I'll give Chris Eubank Jr. his flowers.
yeah.
He did really well, and especially at
Yeah,
the
they tried to take it away from him. We all mind games and ring size and gloves and everything. And he nearly got him out of there in 12th, didn't he, Crusher? So we have to give it to you, Bank. But they both fought their hearts out. But English level men getting elite world title money. That's the bottom
Mm,
line. That's
mm,
what happened last night because of who the dads were. That's the bottom line. And technically, the dads didn't want to fight Errol Bomber Graham, did they? And James Toney and Michael Nunn and Roy Jones. They didn't want to do that. They left Crawford Ashley to fight Michael Nunn, didn't they? And if
mm.
people want to see Crawford Ashley, it's on my most viewed video, over 140,000 views. Just click on most popular video. Go have a look at that. It also puts the article from the Manchester Evening News where Big John Fury, big fighting man in the ring or on the hard road, broke down crying in dock when he got sentenced. It's all up there, and the 2 times that Big John Fury got iced, ice, ice, baby, and I was the first one to put them out. How's about that? I was the first guy to put them out because everybody else was scared to death to put them out. It is what it is. Quick run. What we got left, Max? Here, 2 minutes. Quick run through these. Chris Smith, Granton, whatever it's called. What do you think to that fight?
Chris Smith did enough, held
Yeah.
up. He's just
Clark
awkward.
Riley. Did you have Vidal doing enough? More than enough on it, really.
Yeah, I had
Yard
Clark.
Arthur.
Yard was
There were no
just.
bad decisions from judges, were there? Smith McKenna. Smith, went down with a body shot. He got beat up, Smith, didn't he, basically?
Uh,
A shot fighter like Space Raider Ed. That's the bottom line. That's not a dig at Josh Warrington, but when you've got fighters hanging around like a bad smell, and then we've got Super Bean, the man that beat cancer, so he tells us, but it's a load of shit, in my opinion. Super Bean saying Lee Wood against Anthony Kakazi, 2 men that beat Josh Warrington. Lee Wood and Kakazi fight, and the winner gets the Josh Warrington bounty. Prepare for lift off! Cacophony of noise. Warrington doesn't do tickets no more, Super Bean. Do your fucking homework and stop being a pansy and putting out content or going on platforms saying what you've been told to say. Speak the fucking truth and stop misleading boxing fans. You cock! You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But Bombay Dave let go at Sky. I wonder if Horsecock can get him back in the mix. It is what it is. Max, I'm off to have a shower. I'm not training today. It's the first day I've had off in ages. I'm just going to have a shower and get ready for a barbecue and do the business. So watch Liverpool later. What you
okay.
got planned for the rest of the day, Maxi?
I'm going on a hike.
Go on, Max. We Olive.
No, no, with our lass.
You and
She wants to
Leona going on a night. Are you coming back to Stew and Dumplings, Max?
now. She has time, hopefully. But yeah, going on like a 12-mile hike.
12 mile, Max. Go
Yeah.
on, Max, eh? Go on, Max. Is she cooking for you today, Leona? Or are you going out for a meal?
Don't know yet. We haven't got plans yet.
We all poke you've got, Max. You'll be able to go out for a Gordon Ramsay meal like Crusher Ben. Did you see Gordon Ramsay on social media offering
Oh,
Crusher and
he
he
loves
offered
it.
Crusher and his family a free meal. Come bring your family down on me and all that. Ah, creep.
Mm,
I've gone off him now, Gordon Ramsay. He just likes to get it mixed, doesn't he?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, Max, you have a good Sunday.
yeah. You take care, mate.
Cheers, mate.
See you later, mate. Bye, bye,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Well, that were Max from Scarborough. He's living in Humberside now, Max. He's out Scunny. He's bought a big gaff out there. Women love him, men don't want to be him. I'm not joking. He's all right, Max. He's loyal as though when I was dying and I had a nurse come and see me every day for 4 months. Max used to drive down from Scarborough. He used to drive down and fetch me tubs weight build, weight gain powder and a bit like Scott Brunt. He got me a couple of pallets